Now, we have the D2 speakers, okay? We have on the panel Srikari, Trisha, Vishishta, Meghna, and Chinmay. They will come together and present it together with a different approach, okay? And upholding the topic of the day that says exploring the ethical dilemmas and psychological impact on euthanasia, on patients, families, and healthcare providers. Let's see what they have to provide to all of us, okay? So, welcome them with a big round of applause.
Good evening, everyone. Today we are here to explain about euthanasia, and here we go. Shrikari, yesterday I heard the word called euthanasia. Do you have any idea about that?
Yeah, my name is Srikari and I'm here to begin with the basics. What is euthanasia, as she asked? Euthanasia is nothing but a practical process in which a person is intentionally, um, a doctor or a physician who intentionally ends up a patient's life in order to retrieve him from suffering. So, if this euthanasia is done, but how it is done? It is done on two grounds. It is either active or passive. In active euthanasia, the person is or the patient is the doctor or the physician intervenes intentionally to come and end up the life of the patient while giving some lethal substances or any type of injections so that he will come out of the suffering. And when coming to the passive euthanasia is legal in India. But what does passive euthanasia means? Passive euthanasia means a person who is suffering from any type of diseases can be um, withdrawal from his suffering by removing or withdrawing his life supporting instruments like oxygen cylinders or ventilation, or even by stopping the treatment or antibiotics. So this is euthanasia.
Do you think euthanasia is legal in India?
Yeah. Before coming to this question, again, let us discuss about the right to life. In India, right to life is given much more prominence. If in case of India, right to life is given much more prominence, then what about the right to death? That is euthanasia, which talks about the death or mercy killing. If right to life is giving much more prominence, what about the right to death? The person, for instance, asks want to commit a suicide or physician assisted suicide, then he is harming himself but not the other person. But in this case, the state intervenes, and also if this suicide is there committed, then there will be certain circumstances on which grounds he'll be punished. So the person might ask, why did the state intervene in my death? It is my right to die. So he'll be telling like, na savu nen chasta neekenduku, to the state in certain cases. But when coming to India, we feel like dying is not the only solution, as our seniors already said. This is the difference. So while debating, this right to life is a debatable point. The euthanasia is also a debatable topic. In India, why do we need euthanasia? The only need for euthanasia is preventing a person from suffrage. Okay, let's come on to the point. Why do India do not legalize euthanasia? India do not legalize euthanasia just because there might be some misuses or involuntary actions through which people may use their some powers or some any influence, like political influence, anything, in order to get some things done. This might be a ground for which legalizing euthanasia is not correct. And also, in India, people generally believe dying is not ethical or moral. Here the debate comes on the ethical perspectives. Why euthanasia is not being legalized is, if euthanasia is being legalized, then the right to life or leading a life will, the value of this right will deteriorate, because no one will believe in life. They feel like if someone is having any illness, or any person is being physically handicapped, they'll get demotivated that anything it is okay, let's go for this option. So this is some ethical perspective. And also euthanasia may impact on the, not only on the patient who is suffering, but also on the family, relatives, and people are in and around him. Thank you.
Now, I have a question. How does it affect right to die in the modern society?
Let me explain you all that right to die, euthanasia, how is in modern society. Right to die with dignity. It is universally accepted in the world. When a person is suffering with terminal illness or incurable pain. Let us take an example. A person is suffering with chronic diseases and he is in coma since from past 10 years and he belongs to the below poverty. So it leads to the economical burden on the family and resources and medical treatments it requires. So the Supreme Court has declared that passive euthanasia is applied. In 2018, Supreme Court has recognized right to die with dignity is a fundamental right. Later it is modified in 2023 as a more accessible. So according to bioethics, when a person has right to life, then there must be the right to death also. So death is a natural process. There should be no any laws to curtail on that. So, but some people may oppose this. India is a superstitious and rituals country. So it leads to the euthanasia is against to the will of God. But since from ancient period too, we are following like right to death in an indirectly way, like Sallekana in Jainism and through fasting in Hinduism. However, the human being has the right to choose their own decision. So the humanity can end the suffering.
Now we have considered all this, but what are the grounds on which euthanasia can be done? Let us discuss.
Yes, we had two types of considerations. One is clinical and one is legal consideration. Coming to clinical considerations, we need patient's condition and patient's knowledge. Everything we need in the clinical consideration. Coming to legal consideration, we need patient's consent, and high court will be involved in this. And high court will provide us 3 doctors, and committee of doctors will inform to their family about this situation. So in this case, High Court will say us that euthanasia is legal or illegal to us.
I have to a question that how the euthanasia impacts psychologically and family.
I think I can answer your question. Like family plays an important role in the society. మన అర్జున్ రెడ్డి చెప్పినట్టు డైలాగ్ that most affected person nene annattu, like when one person is affected in family, like whole family is going to be affected. There are both negatives and positives where euthanasia will affect their families. Here we go positives. Like take an example of a family where whole family is dependent on one person and that person is suffering suffering from coma from past 10 years. So that family put all their savings, all their income in the hospital, like for their like medicines, everything. Instead of that, they can store their money for like implementation of their family, for growth of their family. And like when there is when a person is suffering from communicable diseases, we can do euthanasia, like so that it will not be spread to their family members. And like when casually when a person dies, what will be our reaction? We'll feel very emotional. We'll start crying, like we'll be depressed. And due to this euthanasia, you'll know the death before itself, so that like you'll be mentally strong and emotionally strong, and there is less chance of being depressed and stressed. There are also negative impacts, like article 21 right to life will be violated. And like doctors are also misusing this power, like as they're not doing any research on the diseases and just declaring that let's do it euthanasia. Thank you.
As we know, euthanasia is illegal in India. Then what about legality of euthanasia in the world?
Now, I am Chinmay and I am studying in D2. Now, I will explain about the different approaches and laws regarding euthanasia worldwide. First, let me tell you about the global overview of global approaches. First, when it comes to euthanasia was first. Netherlands was the first country to legalize euthanasia in the year 2002. Here, euthanasia and assisted suicide was legal in certain conditions such as unbearable 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 suffering with no recovery and repeated request of the patients. When it comes to Belgium also legalized euthanasia in 2002 with extended eligibility including terminally illness persons and in certain conditions. Canada also legalized euthanasia. There are some countries in which euthanasia is specifically limited. Those countries are Australia, Switzerland. In Switzerland, the euthanasia is in Switzerland euthanasia is partially legal, and it is home to many organizations like Dignitas. Germany also assisted euthanasia. Colombia, although in Colombia, euthanasia was decriminalized in 1997, it was implemented in the recent years. There are some countries in which euthanasia is strictly prohibited. Those countries include Japan, US. In US, it varies by country, by state to state. Um, some states like California and Washington allows people to allows people with physical physician assisted killings. Thank you.
One of our friends want to give her opinion on euthanasia, so let's invite you.
Good evening, all. Myself, Yukti from D2. The debate over euthanasia is deeply complex by diverse cultural, ethical, and legal framework around the world. Unlike other countries, some countries have embraced it by legalizing it, while few are amicably opposing it. The varying approaches reflects not only the legal differences but also distinct personal values and perceptions on autonomy, suffering, and thank you.
Thank you all for giving this opportunity.